come to invest in. I should probably ask you all my questions, get to know you better.
I'm going to introduce one of our guests. Her name is Cindy Tanner. She grew up as an only child in rural Indiana. She grew to rely on her imagination for entertainment. Starting at a young age, she would read books to her animals and start telling stories to anyone that would listen. Over the years, her love of reading and storytelling grew into a career of her dreams. She writes sincere stories with unexpected twists. Thank you for joining us. Oh, we got a surprise guest. Here we go.
This is Biddy, and he's my parrot. Oh my God. He likes to keep me on my feet.
This is
So tell us more about yourself, Cindy.
Well, and this is the first time I've ever done a live, so it's I'm a little nervous. I have a tendency of not being able to filter what comes out of my mouth sometimes. So
that's okay. It's the same thing with us. We can't stop the non-filtering happening here either. So you're in a good group.
Well, I have my first 3 books published. They're all contemporary romance. My next release is going to be a rom-com, and I'm really excited about it. I've been working on it for a while. Kind of on a whim, my husband and I decided to put our house on the market, thinking we'll see what happens, and it sold within 2 days.
Oh my goodness.
We're currently packing. My office is empty, and
is that why it's echoing a little?
Yeah. I was going to set up in my new office, which is all boxes, but the Wi-Fi there isn't so great. And I've got my dog. You can hear her whining, so she's not in me.
Aw, it's like, give me attention. So what made you, what was the spur to get you to move?
My husband
to sell your house.
We had kind of been talking about it off and on all year, and sort of was more of a joke. And my mom was talking about retiring, and my dad, has passed away, so she is on her own. And we just sort of talking like if we all live together, because we live close to her anyway, so we're there all the time. And my son absolutely loves her. And my husband and I have this thing where we're always like, let's just see what happens. And it tends to work in unexpected ways, including my son. We weren't sure if we wanted to have kids or not. So we're like, we'll see what happens. And we have like a 6-year-old, and kind of just diving both feet into a new adventure.
You know what? It's always good. New adventures are always fun. You talked about your rom-com a little bit. What's the name of it? Do you have a title for it?
It's Accidental Porn Star.
Whoa! Can you tell us a little bit about it and when it's going to be go live?
I have my pre-order. It's up now for on Valentine's Day. Although I'm hoping to have it released before then. But our move, I wasn't expecting to move when I had set up my release date. So.
Oh, there we go. Awesome. We got our other guest. Thank you, Aliya, for finally joining us.
Oh, man, this is craziness. Absolute craziness. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to make this phone thing work here so I don't look like an Oompa Loompa.
Okay. You want to finish, Cindy?
My apologies, Cindy.
Oh, no.
It's a rom-com of kind of like a new adult. Jules is a college student. She's having an exceptionally bad day. She has like a horrible trifecta of losing her job, losing her scholarship, and finding out that she's going to be a big sister because her mom is pregnant. So moving back home from college isn't really an option for her. So she's trying to decide what her next move is, and a former roommate of hers makes her a proposition. He does kind of like webcam shows and offers her a partnership if so she can make money to pay her summer tour. And it's kind of like a Newton's law of every funny thing that could go.
It did go wrong. That is like so really cute. I can't wait to come out.
Well, thank
That is
you.
awesome. So it's up for you said it's up for pre-sale
It's up for pre-order on Amazon
or
right now.
pre-order?
Yeah,
Okay.
my contemporaries, they're all in KU. So my rom-com is going to be my first book that goes wide. So I'm excited about that and a little nervous. I'm going to see what happens.
Congratulations. I hope great things happen with it.
You know,
Thank
you
you.
can put those up for pre-sale there too,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't need to upload your finished manuscript yet.
Yeah,
You can just do it. Okay.
I know. I've
Well,
already
that's
started.
something new. That's something I did not know. So
Yeah,
that's good to
I already
know.
get the emails from Amazon about, oh, you need to upload your finished manuscript. I'm like, I know.
Not
Oh,
yet. Well, we have our next author here. Her name is Aliya Dalrae, and she writes paranormal romance and urban fantasy. She has currently written 15 novels and short stories in her Fallen Cross world, including Jessica Sweet trilogy, the Fallen Cross Pack series, and the Fallen Cross Legion series. Aliya, is it Aliya, right? Am I saying
Yes.
that correctly?
Yes.
Aliya lives in the Southwest Ohio with her immortal beloved. I love that. When not leaving her grand tales, she can be found working in her husband's furniture restoration business, weaving cane chairs instead. Now that is cool. I heard that's hard to do, doing cane chairs,
Um,
weaving through those.
it might have been at one time, but I've done so many I literally can do them in my sleep. I've actually been so tired that I woke up and my hands were still moving.
Oh my god. Well, tell us about your a Fallen Cross series. I mean, you have three of them. Are they all
Yes.
in? I'm assuming they're all interact.
They are all interwoven. They're actually, yeah, there are three in the Jessica Sweet trilogy. That was my first trilogy.
I
There
got
Thank
you
one.
go.
you. That's one of them. Yes.
Love the cover. That's a
Backwards.
cool
Is it
cover.
Thank you.
backwards?
Yeah, it is. That's okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's okay. That's the second one. Um, the Jessica Sweet trilogy follows Jessica and Raven in Jessica's like this. She's a human, but she has visions. And all of her life, she's seen this naked man bleeding out on her porch. Well, when she was little, she just got embarrassed. But as she grew older and, started to look like the person in her visions, well, lo and behold, Raven shows up on her porch naked and bleeding. But then she doesn't remember anything because, vampire.
Oh,
But
it's
then,
a vampire series.
Vampire
Okay.
whammy.
yes. So they end up getting together, but it's a complicated sort of situation, and it takes the entirety of all three of them for them to finally get there. There's always a happily ever after for now, but to get their final happily ever after, they go through. Man, I throw some rocks at these guys.
I think you have to. You have to in order
Yeah,
for them to
but I'm
fall in
just
love.
mean. Sometimes I think I've just been mean.
You
But
like to
No.
torture them.
I do. I love to torture them. Um, the Fallen Cross Pack series, in the course of Jessica and Raven's story, you find out about the werewolves. And so the Pack series is about Patrick and Maggie. Patrick is the alpha of the werewolf pack, the Fallen Cross werewolf pack. And so this is sort of a prequel to the Jessica Sweet trilogy, but it tells how Patrick became the alpha, how he was stolen from his family, turned into a werewolf, and the struggles that he went through to get his family back.
Unintentional werewolf.
Do what?
Unintentional werewolf.
Unintentional, yes. He was not happy. He's still not happy, but you deal with what life gives you, right? So,
What spurred on the inspiration of this series?
Jessica's story started.
Is that the first? Is that the first of the series?
That is Sweet
Okay.
Vengeance is the first book, and that was written sort of. It was therapy. I'll put it that way. My husband and I lost our only baby when I was 5 months pregnant.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
Thank
that.
you. And I wanted to write somebody told me I should write. That was good therapy. So I said, yes, I will write about my experiences, what we went through. And in my mind, there would be a happily ever after. We'd get pregnant again. We'd have a baby. And, it would be an inspirational book. Well, I didn't get my happily ever after. As far as that went, I still have my immortal beloved, and I will always. But we didn't get that new baby, and so I abandoned that idea. But I still needed to write. I still felt the need to get it out, and that's kind of one of the rocks I throw at Jessica. She's Jessica. Our baby's name was Jessica Aliya. So that's my main character. That's my pen name.
Very cool.
And but I my phone went dark. It's back. I touched it. So it was just sort of trying to get all of those emotions out. And the third book was the hardest for me to write, because it was a lot of that raw emotion in myself. But in the end, it ended up being everything I needed to get through that hard time.
Right.
And I've had people
writing
actually,
is powerful.
Yeah.
Writing is very powerful.
And
what
I've
about
even
you,
had,
Cindy? Did you? I'm sorry.
And I've even had readers tell me that, as hard as it was to read, that it helped them with similar situations. So,
That's nice that you're able to reach out and touch other people.
Yeah, it
Feeling
was
that same
unexpected.
emotion.
Yeah, but yes.
What about you, Cindy? What was your inspiration for your rom-com?
I had a dream, and it kind of like put a little earworm, and it sort of gave me my main character, and everything else just kind of, I don't know, I sat down at the computer and the words just came out, and funny things started happening. And yeah, maybe a few of those stories are might be very loosely inspired by some events that may have happened to me or I heard about.
Uh-oh.
Can
you tell? Please do tell.
Maybe I'll be live for after it releases, and we can play a game, and people could try to guess what's fiction.
That sounds cool. So what was your other 3 books? You said they were contemporary romance?
Contemporary. My debut book was When You Were Mine, and I wrote that in a night. I woke up from a dream again, and I had all of these characters in my mind, and I sat down and I spent 6 hours straight, and I had a rough draft. And it wasn't the first book that I ever wrote, but it was the one that I decided to publish, because most of my other stories that I had written were paranormal, and my world building was not strong when I decided to start publishing. And I'm actually going back through and working on my paranormals now, and working on my world building and using all that I've learned, because doing the deep dive into going indie, there was so much I didn't know with my first book that I'm still making corrections for mistakes that I made 4 years ago. So it's been a journey, but it's been a good one.
We all know that.
Yeah.
We all do that.
Dreams are awesome. They're like cheating, and people, who come up with stories just from their heads,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to plot and really. But when you have a dream, at least with my dreams, they're pretty daggone linear. It's like a movie. So I'm like, okay, I have this, I have this, I have this. It's like cheating almost, I feel. But it helps write it. I mean, because you visualized your world before, so it's like cheating, but it's awesome.
I always envy the plotters that have the really good outlines. I'm such a pantser that I'll dream a basic outline, or I'll have a very, very strong sense of the character and how the ending will be, and I have to fill in the rest. And sometimes easy, sometimes it's not. But it's a pretty fun ride, especially when I don't even know what's going to happen. So.
Somebody
Riley,
says hi, Cindy.
Yeah.
That was cool. We have family. joining us.
Awesome.
That's nice. I'm kind of the same way as you, Cindy. When I have an inspiration for a story, it's usually, the characters are the ones that really pulled out of me first, and I set up, I plot out the characters, their back history and all that. But when it comes down to the story itself, I pretty much know what the ending is, where I see the ending, and the middle is just like just a mishmash ball of blah that I have to dissect and figure out where, you know what I mean, as I write through it. So I so know what you're talking about.
Well,
But
I
I'm
have something.
learning.
Aliya has the Legion series, and you'll be happy to know she has an MM in that series.
I do.
Really?
I
I'm
do.
a big fan of MM romance.
Well, now it's a very slow burn because their relationships starts in the first book, but they don't really get together until the third book in the Legion series. But I gotta say, they're my favorites.
Are they?
They are.
I'm just getting dipping my toe into it. I have one book, and then I have another one coming out in October, and they're more novellas. So, but I have projects in the sidelines waiting
Right?
Aliya,
waiting for that.
describe your characters. They're vampire. The one guy is Japanese samurai descendant, right?
Well, I think you would call it a pre-descendant because the Kurai Senshi that Merlin is a part of. It's like a demon vampire, basically
Oh,
is what it
okay.
is. It's like the vampires if their child um, around puberty, the vampires will spark and they'll get their fangs, they'll get their eyes. Will get they spark, not sparkle, they spark. And they get a certain
Two
color.
different vampires.
Totally different vampires. But with the Kurai Senshi, they don't spark, they absorb the light. So when
Oh.
they get emotional, or when they're fighting, or other things, they absorb the light. I mean, the very light from the sky, the stars, the moon, candles, electric lights,
So
everything.
people feared them because of that.
Yeah, so they thought they were demons, and there is something called the shade that is in them, and that connects them all. So that's Merlin, and then Martin but that race predated the samurai. So the samurai in my world got a lot of their beliefs from the Kurai Senshi, and
Gotcha.
so there's a lot of that. That form of fighting, that form of belief, the meditation, the armor. There's one scene where they're dressing for battle, and Martin's helping Merlin put on his original armor from way back when, 1,000 years ago, and it's just real touching. It's real, because Merlin's been hiding from the shade, from the Kurai Senshi, for centuries, because they want to kill him because of who he is, because of what he is.
Okay.
And if he was a real Kurai Senshi, he would have committed harakiri, and he would have,
Right.
but he didn't, and his lover did, and so
Oh.
that's why he's hiding. And but
Book,
now he's
please.
found someone. I'm sorry.
Book, please.
Fallen Warrior. It's
All
called Fallen Warrior.
right.
But if you read Fallen Prey and Fallen Captive, you're going to get a whole lot of that back and forth with them too.
The tension between them.
Yes, the build
I
up. I mean, you can
love the
read it on
building
its own.
tension.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the other two are good in their own right, but they're in
Well,
there.
yes, but I love a world that has everything. You know what I mean? It's just not
Yeah.
just hetero love. I like a mixed balance of everything, because
Well,
that's
you
what
got
the real world
interspecies
is.
too, so there you go.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
Well,
yes,
cat shifters and vampires and werewolves and
Well, And so yeah, in Fallen Prey we have the main character, the male lead is vampire and avian shifter hybrid who falls in
Wow.
love with a cat shifter.
Wow.
So it works, I swear.
No, oh no, I mean, I'm sure.
But you know, it's this one after the Jessica Sweet trilogy. This one was fun. It was funny. There's a lot of it's
Out of the
enemies
box
to lovers, you know, sort of thing. And
Very, very
Harrier's
cool.
favorite form to shift into is an owl. So we have the owl and the pussycat, and I put that in the beginning of the book. Is the owl and the pussycat? Have you heard that
Yeah.
poem? Right.
Yeah.
Well, the last line in that poem is they dance by the light of the moon.
Right.
So, I mean,
right.
what is more perfect than for shifters? But, you know, the owl and the pussycat fall in love in that poem, and they go and they try to get married. So
Right.
it was perfect. And I just thought of that as an afterthought. But
It worked. It worked.
Harrier is like 6 foot forever and Scottish and surly, and he doesn't people well. And Kithrin is sarcastic and rude and funny and, you know,
She's a little spitfire.
She is a little spitfire, and their interactions together are just hysterical. She showed up in the last book of the Jessica Sweet trilogy in Sweet Destiny. I had no idea who she was or why she even was there. She just,
Sometimes
you know,
they do that.
Yeah, these people came in, and I'm like, and then there's this, you know, this small girl with dark hair, and I'm like, who is she, and why did I put her there? And I was like halfway through that book before I realized, oh my God, she's for Harrier. That's where why she's there. And
very cool.
Yeah,
very
so
cool.
I love it when that happens.
It does. I do too. Cindy, yeah. Tell us about your contemporary romance that you have out so far. What is it about?
It was meant to be a standalone. It's kind of it's sort of like it's a second chance because we have Harper and she adopted a Marine, Asher, for a school project, and they ended up falling in love as pen pals. The book takes place after, you know, they've kind of had a small romance, and, you know, they had broken up, and, you know, she's kind of living her life, and life gets in the way, and some bad things had happened that made Harper not feel like she was good enough for Asher anymore, and, you know, she's living and running a business. She works with her best friend Nona and her brother Ran, and that got turned into a small trilogy because everybody loved Ran. I even loved Ran so much. When I was writing the book, I'm like, wait a second, she doesn't end up with Ran. Spoiler alert, she ends up with Asher. And to my surprise, so many readers loved Ran and they wanted his story. So I decided to continue, and Ran got his own book, which was Mine for Now, book 2. And then Say You'll Be Mine just released this spring, which is Nona's book. So in book 1, all Harper, Nona, and Ran are all roommates living together. So then they each get their own book and their own happily ever after. But
is Nona a woman or a man?
Yeah, Nona is a woman.
Okay, because Nona in Italian is grandma. Is
it?
Yes. That's why I was like, wait a minute, is there a grandma there? I wasn't quite sure.
I'm in a book club, and one of the members, her name was Nona, and I've always loved that name. So when I had to name the secondary character, it was...
Yeah, I've never heard that name as an actual titled name. It's translated grandma in Italian.
I didn't know. Kind of
yeah. Nona and Nono. Grandma and Grandpa.
Ran's book, because Ran is a 6'11" burly biker that is really a huge teddy bear. He ends up with a sexy librarian who chases him when they first meet because he scares her in a dark parking lot. And
I love that.
Elle, which will be Rand's love interest, has a very perverted grandma named Gigi who kind of stole a little bit of their book because I don't even know where Gigi's character came from, but, you know, we've got like the sweet old lady grandma in a wheelchair that's constantly trying to get Rand to flash her because she wants to see if his package is as big as the rest of him. And it's,
Wait a minute here. Rochelle, don't you have a granny that's kind of similar to that?
Yeah, she pays my character Desire pays people to drop their pants. So,
and I think for me, because Rand's book was one that I never planned to write, so it was weird. I almost had to plot his book, and it took me 2 years to write his book. And while I wrote his book, I ended up writing Nona's book, which I wish, but Nona's book couldn't have been second because of the way different things play out. So
I know how that is.
I think readers seem to be happy from the feedback that I've got, and it was kind of good, and I felt like it got to flex some writer muscles doing something that I hadn't really prepared for.
Well, do you think there'll be more?
Series.
Do you know if there's going to be more books in that series? Like if there's any other secondary characters that's got inspiring, that's want to come out and want a book of their own?
I had thought about doing kind of like a Christmas novella because Elle, which is Rand's love interest, her birthday is on Christmas, and that sort of like plays in as like a little subplot. And to do a Christmas story for there, because it could feature Gigi, and she has a tendency of giving very perverted, fun Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Because the series does touch on some darker topics. Harper's attacked by her stepbrother, and loses a child. And how she meets Nona is Nona was sexually assaulted, and they met in kind of like a therapy setting. So but the story is all after that, like, how people heal from that, and trying to be realistic where people, battle that's why I say I write sincere stories with the twist, because people think that I'm going to write really happy things, and I do, but I try to mix a little bit of the darkness with the humor, because
that's life.
Yeah,
that's reality.
Right.
Yeah. We all have baggage, and we all put our own spin on how we deal with it. And writing is therapy. I mean, like, look at book 2 of my series. I have a stalker in that. Well, that happened to me. And, you can do things in books that you can't do to people in real life.
Which
get away with it. So, it's very therapeutic.
Can't imagine what would happen if my books came to real life, because I write really dark, and it's, you're talking about torturing your characters. I put mine through the grinder, sometimes literally.
Well, your characters are like buried.
One character, one of my female characters, my main protagonist, was buried alive. So, and that was the opening scene, her clawing out of the ground to survive. So, see, it was a very dark moment at the very beginning. So, yeah, it's crazy. So, Aliya, what is your process of writing? I mean, how do you get started with the book, or an inspiration?
It mostly comes from them talking, the characters talking to me. But getting started, the inspiration, one book inspires the next as far as that goes.
Are you a pantser or a plotter?
I'm both? A plantser.
Plantser too? Yeah.
I'm a plantser. I plot some and I pant some. The one I'm working on now, I have not plotted at all. I write it. I've been it's been horrible. I've been writing it as the scenes come to me, but they don't come to me in order. So it's like all over the place, and I'm trying to piece it together like a jigsaw puzzle. And I'm finding that that's not the best way. So, but I'm sorry.
I've never done a scene that way that I come up with a scene, but to write it down, I just feel like I would be so out of place at things.
Well,
do you feel that way?
Yes, that's where I'm ending up. But it's like if I didn't write it down, then I would have forgotten it by now, by the time I get to it. So I feel like I have to get those words out and that scene out, and because it's, I feel like it's really good, but then I have to figure out how it fits in with the rest of the story. And I'm having, like right now, I'm having issues with, I want a certain thing to happen, but I feel like other things need to happen before that. But the timeline of everything is so tight that I can't fit it in. So I'm either going to have to spread things out and put more stuff in. I've got like 65,000 words in this book already, and I am nowhere near being done. So
CJ, not everybody plasters their wall with paper and puts things up. Yeah, I know.
I can show you mine. I'll see. I can show you. I can show you what my walls look like.
See?
I mean, it goes all the way to one wall.
I got paint.
Hold on,
That's
I'm not
all
done.
Look at that. I'm obviously doing something wrong.
Well, usually that wall would be like just different.
Yeah.
In the linear fashion.
Yeah.
It's like I get the ideas for the big scenes and I have to do those first, and it's always out of the order. So editing for me is such a headache because my timeline is always chaos.
Exactly.
Do you use a timeline program like Eon Timeline?
I have tried, but it kind of trips me up. So I used to write in OneNote, and now I write in Scrivener. So like each chapter is just its own tab, and then like I'll title that with kind of like whatever the big scene is, and then I know I have to go in and fill it in after that, and then it's figuring out how the chapters are going to flow, because sometimes I don't always write per chapter. Right, you'll write the scenes, and one scene might be like 10,000 words, and then the next one is like 2,000, and so like. Yeah. My process is chaos, but it works, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Aliya, if you ever want to meet and hash out things, I'd be willing to do that since you live so close. Well, Cindy, you too. You guys live fairly close. If you need to work things out for timeline-wise, I'd be willing to do that.
I'm going to take you
I feel so left out.
You can fly over. Well, we can do this anytime too, Yes.
Just fly in for coffee, CJ.
Me and my lonely Illinois residents here. Yeah, I could fly out. It'll take me 2 hours to fly out there.
It'd probably take you
longer
to the airport
Right.
than it is to fly.
Yeah, it is. Oh my goodness. So your process is the same, is similar, Cindy, in regards to how you do?
I'll get, and my inspiration sometimes it comes for dreams. Sometimes I can be watching a show. Sometimes I'm just daydreaming. I mean, I really did. I grew up on a farm. I didn't have any siblings. I had to keep myself occupied because, we didn't have cable or anything until I was older. We didn't have internet until I was older. I had chores to do, and while I was, giving the horses hay, I was a secret agent, and that was my job. My cover was, being a farmhand.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Did you have to keep the magic mushrooms hidden?
Okay, explain. You need to explain that one.
Well, she knows what magic mushrooms are. I'm just joking. There's a story idea for you. Put it in. Secret agent ferrying magic mushrooms.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're called truffles, and they taste good.
They are good. They are really good. So what's your next books coming out? I know, Cindy, you have Rom-Com coming out in February, you said?
Yes.
And then what about you, Aliya? What is your next book coming out?
The next one is the 5th book in the Legion series. It's Viper's book. Viper and Sasha. Sasha was supposed to be with Taz, but she wasn't having that.
Taz is the Australian dude, right?
Taz what?
Taz is the Australian guy, right?
Yes, he is. He is.
She don't know what she's turning away. He's what?
He's next.
Okay.
I swear he's next. I've been saying that since Sweet Vengeance, but Taz is next. But no. Viper is coming up before Taz, and I'm hoping that I can figure out all of this timeline stuff and have it done well, I'd like to have it done by November because I'm going to be in Mansfield in November for the Locked Up in Ohio signing.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
We'll be there too.
You're going to be there too?
Yeah.
Yay, we'll get to meet.
Do you need a PA?
Why aren't you going to be there?
Because it's Nano.
Oh, yeah. But it's the end of Nano.
Yeah. Well, I am going out of town. I'm going to do my annual writing retreat with my friend for November.
Okay.
Well, this November Nano isn't doing in-person things again.
Oh, bummer.
Which sucks, because we've already reserved the library and anybody who's watching who doesn't know what Nano is, it's National Novel Writing Month, and it is the month of November. And I am a Nano evangelist. I will be preaching and spreading the good word of Nano. Except for this year, I'm pissed off at them because
excuse me,
we can stay 6 feet apart because we don't want to be next to people. We want to spread out and put our headphones on, but we want to be together.
Right. Exactly.
So it's an unofficial gathering.
Yeah, that I'm going to go out and I'm going to write wherever I write because I can't do it here. I like to be out. That's where I'm focused. And with my northern out, I know enough northern people that they've rubbed off on me. Yeah, I go south and I'm a Yankee, and I go north and I'm a southerner. So I don't know what the hell I am.
You're just crazy. I'm just joking.
You're awesome. That's what you are.
I was asked to attend that event, and I said, "Oh, hell no!
No.
Anything they're dealing with, no. Anything they're dealing with that much ghostly spiritual connection, I do not. I don't think it's good, right for me."
I understand that. My main thing is we watch Shawshank Redemption like every single time it comes on, and I just want to see it.
Especially on the inside.
Right.
Like a fair or something like on the anniversary of whenever it came out, and my parents went to that.
Yeah.
And they had a great time. They met some of the actors. They took a tour. They had all this stuff in the field next to it that was all memorabilia, and it was just really cool. They had the
That's neat.
Yeah.
I couldn't take a tour though. I couldn't take a tour in that place.
I'm a huge fan of Tango and Cash. It's one of my, I don't know, I love movies from
I love that movie too.
That's great.
Prison. Some of the prison scenes were filmed there too. My mom was
were they really?
Yeah.
My husband, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, now I doubly have to go.
Yeah, right. My husband, when we were dating, was a part of a ghost hunting team. So he's actually going to go as my PA. I think he's excited to.
Oh, that is cool.
Oh, your honey's so sweet.
My husband is a very fan. I don't know how I ended up being so lucky. He's very sweet and sensitive, and I'm not.
It takes sweet guys to put up with ladies like us. With our imaginations and our snark.
Yeah.
Well, Kirk's going to be
good way of putting it.
So,
that'll be fun.
Maybe we should be table neighbors.
Maybe, yeah. That'll work out really good.
So the guys can talk their stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Author support system.
You need to get like a T-shirt that says, all my wife's heroes are inspired by me, or something like that.
There you go.
My husband wouldn't wear it. I bought him one.
He won't wear it?
He wouldn't wear it, no. He doesn't wear T-shirts. He has to have a collar. So if I got him a preppy one that said something like that, embroidered maybe, I don't know. He's just weird. But I love him.
He knows his paint.
Yeah.
I said he knows his paint.
He does.
We rely on him often.
Oh, so you guys live really close together.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We knew Aaron before we knew Gina.
Yeah, it was weird. We met at the little local library in Centerville where we live, and we just hit it off because we have the same humor. So we were here over here giggling, and then I didn't even know how Aaron came in to the situation, or
You were talking to Kirk
about maybe what
about
he did, the
stuff.
businesses,
Yeah.
small business stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, we know, Aaron, my husband," and I was like, "Oh, okay." Is that good? Is that good? It was weird. It was weird. I was like,
It
okay,
was
well,
all
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Just
That's
one of
awesome.
those small world situations.
Yeah.
And how close are you, Cindy,
It's okay.
to, that's okay. I call you Tanner. New name. No.
She's
I
not close enough.
I live in Indiana, but I'm 15 minutes from the Ohio border and about a half an hour, 45 minutes from Cincinnati. So, because you're Dayton, right?
Yeah,
Or not,
we're South Dayton, so
Yeah.
an hour, hour and a half, depending on traffic and how I drove. If I went,
That's not bad. That's not bad of a ride
yeah,
versus my 6
so
hours
she's gonna
drive.
come and we're gonna make some buttons.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Maybe
she,
I should come and make some buttons and sleep at your house.
yeah. You have my cat in there.
What?
My
Yeah.
I'll sleep with your cat?
yeah. Well, this is the room where you sleep. I have an air mattress.
There you go.
This is
I
my
don't know
cat.
about the cat part, but just sleep with. Okay, yeah, we are friends. Seriously, we are.
Okay, so okay, you guys are going to the thing in November. What else is everybody doing? What other events are you going to?
There's an author fair in Batesville, Indiana, which I love because it's at the coffee shop I love to write in. It's hosted by my local library. This is the first one they're doing. Sutton is actually going to be the speaker for it, and that's in
Woo!
September on the 11th. And then I'll do the Mansfield signing. I did
Is that
sign up
you said
for
November 11th or
September.
September? Okay,
Yeah. So, and then I'm doing
I'm gonna
the,
write that down because that's not that far away.
yeah,
Sorry.
I'm really excited for it because, I mean, that
Excuse me.
then it's a Maxwell, which it's a community-owned coffee shop in Batesville. So they're a nonprofit. So all of their profits they put back into the community. I love the vibe there, the coffees. I like to be able to support my community too. So it's
Right.
Did you
That's
say
awesome.
the cookies?
what?
I'm sorry. Did you say the cookies? It came out. I don't know if my phone just cut out a little bit, but it says I love the cookies. It sounded like you said, I love the
Well, they
cookies.
do actually make really, really good cookies. Good coffee.
I'm like I'm all about the cookies too. So. So just for this year, you have the one event you're going to
Yeah.
a writing event or 3 events.
Well, I did Riders on the River in July, and then I'll have the one in Batesville, and then Mansfield, which this is my first year that I've ever done signing
Okay.
writer, so it's pretty exciting.
That is exciting. What about you, Aliya?
I am doing Mansfield in November. That's my last one this year. And then next April, I'm doing Authors and Dancers Against Cancer in Toledo.
Woohoo!
And
there.
I just got the invitation from Books and All That Jazz for 2023. So
Me-
I will
us
be
too,
doing
mine
that one
too.
in 23.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about all of them.
So is this only been you only do like a couple events a year, or
Well,
do you put in?
Dreaming Dirty in Michigan was last weekend,
Yes.
days ago, and that
Yes.
was my first like big major,
Oh,
bunch of authors kind
okay.
of event since I had more than one book to offer,
Yeah.
and so I'm just kind of warming up to it. I don't really want to get too far away from home just yet because we'd still like to try to kind of break even, which we did.
That's good.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're hoping, if we keep it close to home for now until I build more of a reputation, I guess. And then maybe we'll see about adding more. But I think 2 a year, I'd like to kind of keep it at that. for now. And then, when I become rich and famous and everybody needs to see me, then I'll spread out.
Travel around. I'm doing, what's it called? Lexington Book Bash, the last weekend in August. And then I'm going to Rebels and Readers in October, and I know CJ's going to that one. And that one is kind of somebody canceled, a bunch of people canceled. So they have space, which is cool because I've never been there before, and I've heard very good things about that one, although they are changing the location next year.
They're going back to where it used to be in West Virginia.
So it is kind of expensive, but I thought, well, I'd try it and see how it goes, and we'll see. I mean, that's like Hershey, Pennsylvania, so I think that'll be the furthest away. I mean, I don't know if it's further than Riders on the River. I think it is. Seems like it would be.
Yeah.
But then I've got a few planned. I've got at least 4 planned for next year that I paid for. 3. No, yeah, 3 next year, and then the one that books and all that jazz. So I've got Authors and Dancers. I've got Flirty in Kansas City. And then I've got Weekend with the Authors in Nashville, Tennessee.
I'm doing that one next year, too.
Are you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ooh, me too. Okay, so did we say all that books and all that jazz? When is that?
June 23rd through the 25th.
2023.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so I don't have to worry about for next year then.
No, yeah, not next year.
I have a crazy schedule. For this year, I only have 2 events, which is Rebels and Readers in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And then, right before that, I'll be in San Antonio doing Authors in Alamo City. And I actually almost backed out of it, but my niece lives in Dallas, just south of Dallas. So she wanted to come and visit and see how things are. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And then my sister decides to come. She goes, I'll be your PA. So it'll be the 3 of us having a good time and checking out the city and then doing the event. So I'm kind of excited about that.
So is the Texas event the furthest that you've been from home?
Yes. Is it the year before I was supposed to do, so the year of the COVID, or right before year of COVID, I was supposed to go to California, and it ended up canceling. So that would have been my furthest one in San Diego, and it ended up having to cancel, it kind of worked out, because that would have been that was expensive. But, I have family and I have friends out in that area also, so it was not just a regular work visit, it was also friendly. So
the
next year...
Is it one in Texas? Is that all genres, or is that mostly?
That's all genres. It's all genres. Yeah, it's all genres. But next year I have a total of too many. Excuse me. My allergies are kicking up. As of right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I have 8 events for next year. So, and it's kind of spread out throughout the year. And it's in different parts. So I think the furthest I'll be going to is Florida. And it'll be for 2 events in Florida. So hopefully COVID will be controlled, maintained, or whatever by that point. But I have a very busy schedule for that. So
yeah, it sounds like it.
On top of writing,
Yeah.
So let me ask you, ladies, when is your best time for writing? First thing in the morning, afternoon, or late in the evening? I'll start with mine. Mine is more in the morning. I write in the morning and I edit in the afternoon.
I used to be best to write in the evening because my son would be asleep my husband would be home, everything would be great. My husband switched jobs, so now he works in the evenings. So I tend to have to write in the morning. And that's kind of, I don't like it because I can't get lost. Because, I mean, sometimes it's like when the news hits me, it's like 6 hours will pass and I will think it's been 30 minutes. And I can't really do that so much in the mornings like I could at night. Because, I mean, who needs a night's sleep, right? You got to read the book.
Right.
But now I tend to be in the evenings when my son is asleep. My brain is just fried, and I don't have the creative mojo that I would normally have. So I usually do the weekends is when I get most of my writing done now, and sometimes through the week if I can.
Are you a fast writer, or are you more methodical?
When like the muse and the inspiration really hits, I mean, I can do 10,000 words, 12,000 words in a day. I did actually this January. I wrote my first draft of a paranormal book called Demon Lies, and I think it was 48,000 words in 4 days.
Wow.
Wow.
Let me see your fingers.
I was going to say.
Oh, they're still there. That's good.
Well, and I blame TikTok for that book because I had just gotten on TikTok and I don't know, it was like everything was on my FYP and a couple of cosplayers. I don't know why, like their videos kept showing up and I was like, oh my gosh, these would make really cool characters that would do these things. And then suddenly, yeah, I had a
There's the idea.
book drafted. Yeah. So it's, and that
What
was,
about you, Aliya?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What about you?
Whenever I can. I
You don't have no specific.
I prefer writing during the day, but I don't have daytime hours anymore. I lost my job of 26 years last October, so I just started a new job in February of this year, and they kind of keep me on my toes. I'm actually taking a lunch break today, which is great.
Is that where you're at right now?
Well, I'm working from home, but
right.
Yeah, I told them, I'm like, I will not be available. So, but and then in the evenings I'm like doing the chairs and the furniture stuff with my husband. So it's sort of like it's just the two of us, but it's sort of like when we finally get settled down. If I still have a brain left, I try to come in and do some writing, but I need to get more organized and kind of like scheduled to try to get more words in, because it's been, the balance has been a struggle for me this year. I normally by this time I'd at least have a couple of short stories out or a novel, and I haven't had anything new this year, and I'm sorry, but but I really am going to try to get it's called Fallen Gods is Viper's book, and I'm going to try to get that out hopefully before Mansfield. So
wow.
But yeah, basically it's just whenever I can.
I'm the same way, I guess. I mean, I write more during the day just because that's usually when the kids were at school or away. My husband's at work. I try to go someplace, like I said, and so I'm not really distracted by anything in the house or whatever, I need to do. But with last year, the kids were home, and it was just hard to get focused, get in, and remain focused because they always need me there. They're talking, which is not, it's like a catch-22. I'm going to enjoy that time. Like my son's graduating. He's going off to college tomorrow, actually. So he's not going to be able to interrupt me anymore. So it's kind of like I enjoyed it at the same time. I couldn't focus. So creatively speaking, I'm looking forward to this. At the same time, I'm going to miss him, I know, but I'll be able to actually get back into it. So editing wise, it's kind of like it's kind of interesting. My process for editing, if it's a first run, then I will put my Scrivener file, I will compile it into some kind of Word document, and then I will go and take a walk and listen to it, have my reading program read it to me. And if I catch things, I will screenshot it and circle whatever. So, or just have the screenshot so I know that something bothered me, or there's a missing word or whatever. Or there's wrong pronoun or whatever. And I just keep walking and I listen to it. And then that's kind of like my process for the first round. And then, or even the last round, I do that too. But it's just something I do. It's like I get out of the house and I'm got my headphones on. And so I'm exercising, which I guess is probably good for my brain as well as the rest of me. And then I work. So that's it.
That's exhausting, isn't it? Just well, you get your exercise in. You're getting your exercise in while you're actually doing work with your book. You want to capture everything. So, I mean, I've tried that, but I cannot focus. I can't focus on what I'm listening to and walking at the same time without tripping over my feet. You know, 'cause that's how big of a klutz I am. So, I'm usually in my office for most of the day, from the time I wake up, with sporadically getting up and going to the bathroom, going downstairs for snacks, you know, because you got to have snacks while you're working. And but yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. I know that everybody has their own methods and times for writing, but yeah, and with COVID and everything else, it screwed up a lot of people dealing with, you know, jobs and timing and all that stuff. And people, when you're used to being, you know, having the same, you know, same system, and all of a sudden it jars you with, you know, with that, especially losing of a job and stuff like that, and moving. Sudden change. I said, let's move. You know, I wish I could do that. I told my husband, I said, we got to move. And I was talking to Rochelle yesterday, and she's like, oh, move by us. I tell my husband, go, yeah, just find a job. You know,
There's lots of them.
There's lots of them, yeah. Which is weird. I've heard so many people say there's tons of jobs out there, but nobody wants to work, which is so sad. You know. But it's getting time for a close. Please, ladies, tell us where we could find you, where we could find your books. Cindy, let's start off with you. I'm like, let me give you a chance for this.
We're both being so polite.
I know.
Right now, my debut trilogy is on KU, so it's available on Amazon. I have a website, www.cindytanner.com. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, but I don't understand Twitter, so I'm never there. And you can find me everywhere under Cindy Tanner.
Awesome. And you, Aliya?
Everything is available on Amazon. I think all but 2 of my short stories are on Kindle Unlimited. I also have a children's book out that I wrote for my nephew. It's called Brian and Rebel, but that's under it's under a different name, S.R. Blackmore. But it's also on Amazon and then under Kindle Unlimited. And Facebook is where I generally hang out. So everything is Aliya Dalrae. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I have a TikTok account, but I have no idea what to do with it. I've only been on it once, and it
do some dancing.
Me all of this disgusting pimple stuff, and so I'm like, why does everybody want to be on this? And why is it showing me that? Anyway,
it's because CJ likes it, and you like her.
It's crazy. I just can't get enough of pimple popping. I'm a squeezer.
Ooh.
That's fine. I just don't want to say it. But yes, and so that's the best places to find me. And again, on Amazon.
And do you have a website?
I do, but it's a Wix. I can't even remember it. I don't have my domain name yet, so and And I'll be honest, it is so out of date that I don't even want anybody to go there.
Oh,
Tell people about your paranormal room, your group.
Oh, yes, it's ADR's PNR Addicts. And that's my group for, it's like my street team, just someplace to go to have fun and hang out and talk paranormal stuff.
do you have one, Cindy?
I do. It's Cindy Tanner Reader Group. If anybody wants to like suggest a better name, apparently it all the way around. If the mood doesn't strike me, I would absolutely love it. I'll probably send you a nice little prize because.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Well, my readers group is called CJ's Cousin because, I'm just a little wicked. So that's where anybody could find me or you want to know. That's where all of like information and stuff like that through Facebook. But I have a newsletter. So do you guys have a newsletter that you promote and want to, to let them know?
Yeah,
I have. Let's see. And then we talk at the same time.
There we go.
I went first last time.
Okay. Yes, mine is ADR's Sweet and Spicy newsletter, and you can sign up for it on my Facebook. You can find it.
I have a link to sign up on my newsletter on my website. I am probably the worst at newsletters. I only send out when I've got a new release coming, which so far is once or twice a year. I never know what to put for newsletter content. I'm almost like the worst email opener because I'll wait until I have like 500 emails before I'm like, I'll check and see if there's anything important in here. I'm horrible, I guess.
What about you, Rochelle?
I have my newsletter. You can sign up for it. I think on my author page on Facebook, but also RochelleBradley.com. There's a contact page, but also it'll pop up if you just peruse it and you wait long enough. It'll bling.
Bling, huh?
Yeah, bling. I write romance, baby.
So is my newsletter. Mine does. I don't know if mine blings. I do know that that it's on my menu. Yes, that I do have it. It's CJWarrant.com. So
Does that make you want to sign up? Because every time, bling.
yeah, it makes you want to sign up, especially if you could have that noise, bling.
Do you think it'll do that?
I don't know.
It probably.
It might vibrate, maybe. Some have
vibration,
those
that's
things.
good.
I know. Now we're being too goofy. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining us in this hour. We had a fabulous time. Got to know a lot about you, about your writing and your books and what's coming out. And we hope to see you in the circuit, in the writing circuit and events and stuff like that. But thank you so much for joining us. And thank you all for our audience for joining us. And I hope you had a great time, learned a lot. Please follow these ladies on all their social media, and it'll be all good. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
For I'm too invested, I should probably